So I've been in a ton of meetings that everyone always showed up and had like suits on and high heels, and a lot of them were like CEOs or high end on the like corporate chains, and they were there on behalf of their corporate chain, but rarely saw the individual, especially female business owner that I was at these events. And so ultimately I just never felt comfortable. Hey guys, it's Amber Van Denzen, owner, founder of Attaboy Animal Care, veterinary technician of 13 years, CPPS, degree in animal science, all that fun stuff. Award-winning pet sitting and dog walking and mobile dog treadmill team in Central Florida. Today I wanted to talk to you about networking events, networking or referral groups, or other like business type groups that you may find in your community or online, and what those look like and how those can benefit you, how those can maybe not be the right fit for you, and how those in the long run can be a great aspect of your business and potentially even a great burden. So I wanted to talk to you about my personal experiences, the main types of groups you'll find, and finding the right one that may or may not fit you. So first and foremost, I would categorize, most groups that you may find online as online coaching groups. So a company or individual that has expertise in a specific market like pet care, that may have been in the industry themselves, or a person that has a larger background aspect of business or marketing that may have niched themselves into the pet care industry. The other version of that is like the A, that was point one, A, and the second one is B, which is the company that's not specific to the pet care industry, but may teach you more on social media or marketing or like treasury, financial aspects of it, or growth in a business, or sales of a business. Then you have in-person groups that are related to organizations. So either they are like Chamber of Commerce type organizations, networking organizations for small businesses, networking events for, again, niche markets like pet care, professionals or pet businesses, or again, networking and referral groups for maybe gender specific or queer specific, or any more niche markets that may kind of flow into your community. So when looking at these organizations, the last and third one, is organizations that are philanthropic. So organizations that their main goal is philanthropy or education related to a specific subject. So I kind of qualify those as maybe like your Kiwanis organizations, or your Rotary organizations, that they do a lot of philanthropy first, but a lot of people end up joining the group also to get business connections or connections to bigger markets of people that may have some clout in the local community. So how do you decide which ones you want to participate in and which ones that may not be the right fit for you? Again, we have online that have niche and non-niche specific, so business versus pet, and then you have in-person that's philanthropic, and in-person that's more business related networking events. First and foremost, always remember, all of these connector points organizations are businesses themselves, okay? They're gonna have a membership fee or participation fee or an access fee or whatever you wanna call it, because they're businesses themselves, just like us. They're providing education, resources, and connection and events, maybe marketing space, in lieu of a financial contribution. So whatever they say, and they're like, oh yeah, we're doing this out of the goodness of our heart. Come on, let's be real. Yes, we do things out of the goodness of our hearts, but we're also business as themselves, as are we. So take that with stride and aspect. The next thing is they'll try to make it like it's a reserved opportunity, or only people are accessible, or you have to apply for a lot of these things. What I've found is more often than not, it's to make it feel like you want it more because it's unattainable potentially, or you're going to get denied. So because of that, there's kind of an excitement behind it, and you want it because now it may not be an option for you almost, but almost always they say yes. The only times I found that you don't get accepted to these organizations are because there's another competing person that has a similar business style in that organization, and they may have rules that they only accept like one of a certain type of organization type, business type into the group at a time to avoid competition in their eyes. The next thing is determine if they're associated with other organizations or funded by other organizations or take donations or marketing opportunity money from other organizations that may not align with your personal or business aspects. For example, there may be organizations that are religious-based organizations, start with specific prayers because they're more Christian-based situations, or they may be organizations that themselves support organizations related to politics that you may not want to align your business or personal relations to. So look into that and ask those questions. The next thing is contributions expectations. Some require certain marketing budgets that you have to participate in, or certain donation aspects of participation or providing services at a discounted cost to other fellow business members. So consider that, and if you're able to afford that or you want to afford that within your business budget. The next is the vibe, honestly. So I've been in a handful of organizations in each one of those categories: online, business specific, pet specific, and then kind of a philanthropy based specific. And I wanted to go in and see, and a lot of these will invite you for a couple of meetings for free, or feel free to tag along with somebody you know to kind of get the vibe purposefully. But don't just go and go, if you see those yellow or red flags of concern that make you uncomfortable, treat those with respect and trust yourself, because what I find is those first few meetings, how you're integrated, how you're associated with, how you're connected with, how you're communicated with, are a very good view of what that organization kind of flows like. And what I mean by that is, one time I was in an organization and I got invited by a fellow business owner and a friend that I knew that was in it as well, who had recently joined. She was high on the excitement of being a new member and she wanted me to join too. And I was so excited to be invited. I was so excited to be felt like part and connected of a group or community and network, maybe friend opportunity situation, that I didn't look at the kind of vibe of the company and the organization that I was being part of. And I was kind of awe of all the glittery fun stuff and not seeing the underlying situations. And for me personally, and what I find in the pet care business and being a woman business owner as well, are two things. First and foremost, I am not a business attire person typically in the pet care industry. I used to be in agriculture, right? And I would wear nice jeans, a button top or polo, and you would wear work boots, like your leather type horse boots, your cowboy boots, whatever you want to call them. And that was considered business professional in that industry because we were working class business professionals. And so you would be really nicely done, and that was acceptable. And I remember going into those meetings as a pet business owner, pet sitting, dog walking professional, in that very similar attire, and being completely the polar opposite of everyone in the room who was wearing suits, ties, high heels, full-fledged makeup vibes. That was not me, or that wasn't how I portrayed myself in my business, and I was shell-shocked to say the least. And ultimately, I was not willing to convert to acclimate to look like everyone else, like physically and like my attire, that ultimately I know it affected how my connections were made in that organization, because I was perceived as unprofessional to these persons. Another organization I was in is a similar concept, that I was of the younger variety and a female compared to male identifiers in the group, and because of that they always saw me as the cute little girl, my 5-foot self, and I never got to be seen as professional. Now, that's not my fault by any means. I'm not saying you should convert or change yourself to acclimate to other organizations. I'm trying to say, find your vibe, find your tribe, find people that are, if I'm quirky and I like to wear overalls with spider pins and I don't do full-fledged makeup and I don't wear heels, look at the other persons in the group and say, does this person fit well for me? Sometimes it's not aesthetic either, it's personality. Am I able to be loud and boisterous? Am I allowed to talk about pets and poop and them not go, ew, gross, that's not appropriate, right? So determine that based off of the group. And how do you do that? Start those conversations and see how people react. Last but not least, I want to talk about the participation aspect and what you need to do or should do to get the most out of these organizations. When you're on an online community organization, communicate, respond to questions based off of personal story aspects, and you would expect the same in return. So there's a lot of time commitment to be a participating member and not just a person that follows and watches and listens only, and this takes and never gives. When you're in in person and you're in a networking referral type group situation with small businesses, ask for business cards first. Tell them how you can help them find clientele that may fit their vibe, or if you don't align with that business's aspects, process, policies, or it's not right for your clients, that's okay too, but still take interest in their business, even if it's the 10th lawn care company that you've talked to or the 10th real estate agent, because not all are created equally, as we well know in pet care as well. So see which ones vibe best for you and offer them something first that will make you show that you are a giver before you expect to be a receiver of anything from them as well. Also know that if you continue to give, maybe showcasing their business, tagging them on social medias, posting their business cards in your digital marketing or in your new client folders, and then you never get anything in return, like you're not seeing them tag you at least once or comment or follow on your socials or come talk to you in events, guess what? I always say 3 times and out. Like, I will try 3 times. If I don't get anything in return, peace out. You're not getting free networking from me that you're not also. So think of that too. If they're tagging you in things and sharing your posts or talking about your business to people, or you got referrals that said, oh, so-and-so realtor or so-and-so construction agency recommended you, and you're not giving the same back, don't expect them to continue either. When you're doing in-person meetings, most organizations will have a percentage of meetings that you have to show up to consider to be a participating member for those exact same purposes. You're not going to get the most benefit out of the organization if you're not actively participating in the organization, and they know you're not going to continue to be a member if you don't see that return on investment. So that's why they have those policies. So when you're looking at organizations that have meetups, consider if they are the right time frame and location for you and your needs. For example, there was an organization I was part of locally that was wonderful, but their meetings were always like meetups at local brick and mortar facilities and businesses of members, except they were in evening hours. They were like 5:30s to 7:30s or 6:30s or 8:30s, and I have children in elementary school. That's prime time for dinner and activities and school stuff, and I tried to participate in those events, and I always felt like I was not giving what I needed to my family to then take over those events, and they were fairly frequent, and I found that when I didn't attend, I didn't get those networks and connections like I needed, and ultimately the financials I was investing in membership fees didn't make sense. Versus other meetings were during school hours, like 8:30, 9:30, 10:30 at local event spots or breweries, or not at 10:30 in the morning for a brewery, but if that's your boat, that's cool too. But like coffee shops, whatever. And those did fit my vibe more and abilities, and their participation requirements made sense for what I could participate in. Last but not least, not every membership cost, it can be so drastic. I've seen membership costs at $15 a month. Some will have tiered levels, like you can participate online for a lower cost, or you can do X amount of events for a medium cost, or you have access to full access plus marketing opportunities like showcasing your business or whatever for a higher cost. Other things straight out the door are very high, or you have to do a full annual membership right away. I've been in online groups with coaching situations that are over $1,200 a year, so $1,200 a year. I've been in online freebie groups that I can get more connections with that were at no cost ultimately. I've been in a local events meeting organizations that cost just a one-time fee of maybe $250, but then they expected you to donate funds through their philanthropic organizations, and they monitored that as well. And if you didn't, you got a really nice conversation that was like really passive aggressive, basically telling you, hey, you need to donate some more cash flow to make us look good so we can say we donated X dollars by the end of the year type situation. And if you didn't, the other members knew and you weren't taken as seriously, unfortunately. So really determine what your budget is for these networking groups or marketing opportunities. And part of that is also determining what can be tax, income that you can write off at the end of the year, taxable things that you can write off because they are marketing opportunities. So you'll see things like chambers say, hey, you can pay X dollars for these marketing, and as part of that, you get a membership. So you can classify that as marketing costs for taxable write-offs or tax write-offs versus other things would be professional organization memberships. You have have to look into that. Ask your tax person. You know, some are marked off at 100%, some are not, potentially. That changes year by year. So ask that, and that may determine what memberships you go. Last but not least, don't overdo it. Always, if you're gonna do it, do 1 or 2, I say. Maybe 1 like general business, and a second one that's more pet specific, whether it's in line or on person. I try to do 1 online, 1 in person. There's been years that I've had no participation in them. It just really depends. And I always say take advantage of the free opportunities if possible. Just last night I was at an event for a local Tampa Bay, Central Florida organization that was hosting a free panel conversation from some of their members that were local business owners. And that was their way of like, yeah, we're gonna give you free content, but of course we're gonna sell you up and hopefully you pay our 60, what was it? Like almost $1,000 a month or $1,000 a year membership to have access to our events. But a lot of the events weren't in the city that I lived in. They were 45 minutes to an hour away. So it didn't quite make sense for me for that financial contribution, although their vibe was on point. So keep those things in mind. What kind of organizations have you been part of or are part of, and the ones that were your favorites and the ones that you weren't. And last but not least, if there's not an organization near you, make one. Have a great day, guys. And as I always say, happy pets, happy people. Bye-bye.